Love and light, guys. So, someone asked me, what does the astral world look like? What does the fourth dimension look like? I can only describe what it looks like to me, how I've experienced it. Um, but first of all of us have experienced it. This is where you're going in your dreams. So, if you have recollection of dreams, especially those really vivid dreams, those really bright dreams, uh, that's the fourth dimension. The problem in the recollection of that and the understanding of that is that when we come back into the third dimensional personality and experience, many of those dreams of the fourth dimension do not translate. Uh, Others are completely blocked by what's called the censor, which is the part of your egoic filter or personality, which is refuting all other modes of reality, which is denying that there's things that are unseen. So that is also blocking out anything that is uncomfortable to it that was seen. Also, the higher self is blocking knowledge of other lives and things like that, so that this life can be focused on in experience. But in addition, some of the things simply can't be translated into three-dimensional structures, or if they are, they become unrecognizable, or the situation becomes unrecognizable. But I will share you the way, what I have noticed about there. So one thing is, things are much brighter there. Things are much more vibrant. Contrast is way up. So darks and lights, the difference between darks and lights. So everything in a way can look kind of cartoonish. And this seems to increase as you go up in dimensional strata. And I can only describe, like, the what is actually happening is that more data is being translated, more data and information is being processed by the personality there than here. Okay. Also, time is completely different. So you could move forward or backward in time, just like you could in a dream. You could step through a door to yesterday in the same house, or to tomorrow in the same house, or to a different house. So space and time are completely different there from one frame to the next. Distances as we know them here don't apply, or are not calibrated in the same way. Also, in some way that I don't know how to really explain it, you can often see things on the inside and outside. So you will be aware of something in its totality there, especially as you get towards the higher dimensions, as you get towards the fifth. Things will become... See, this is hard for the third dimensional personality and mind to grasp and understand, but when I look at something from the normal third density frame of reference, what we're seeing is perspective. For example, when you look at a cube, your eyes will not show you, like, at a distance. You will not see the cube as it actually is, but you will see it altered due to the distance. This is something your own mind is doing. The fact that one side will appear larger than the others, that play in perspective, is something your own mind is doing to allow you to have the experience, judgment, and discernment of distance and depth. But it is not actually the way it looks. It is the way you are being shown it, so that you can understand that that object is far away. The object is not changing size. So in the fourth dimension, that does not happen. No matter how far away you are from an object, the perspective does not change. And as you go up into the fifth dimensions, it's not just distance that does that. It's time and all. Even in our psychological conditions, we're seeing things from other aspects, from all angles. So we start to see basically objects not just visually, but our emotional understanding of things, our psychological understanding of things starts to not be one-sided anymore from one perspective as it was in the human world, but be from the 360 perspective, or even spherical completely. So we start to see things from every possible way as we move towards the fifth, where we will see things completely in that way, which is what is meant by truth. To see something from truth means perspective has been eliminated, means you can see it from all sides at once, to understand it from all angles at once. So, hope this helps. This is just a little bit of what's there. It is a vast kingdom. All worlds are represented there, as far as I know, except worlds that don't extend down. But all the worlds that are in the third dimension are also reflected in the fourth, because you can't get to the third without the fourth. So every world that we can see, that we know exist, like Saturn, Venus, that exist in the third dimension, also exist in the fourth dimension. So just like it is a whole universal plane, it is that big and vast, and there is that much, and it is even bigger, it is much bigger, it is exponentially bigger than the third dimension because of the strata of time. So just for instance, if I was to take this room that I'm sitting in right now, this looks like one place. But in the fourth dimension, it's not one place. It's a trillion places. It's this place magnified, broken out through every possible dimension of time. So this room yesterday, and this room tomorrow, and this room in 5 years, and this room right now are different places in the fourth dimension. Time becomes the same thing as space there. That's when time and space become space-time, is when you enter the fourth. So that's just a brief intro. There's a lot to learn, but you're really going to have to understand it through experience. And although you can learn a lot from dreams, you either really want to start lucid dreaming or experiencing the fourth through meditation, so you can start to have a conscious recollection and translation of this. So the astral is vast, encompassing, again, all the worlds which extend into the lower realms. And then that is stretched out through all the intervals of time. Okay? But in addition to that, there are also various levels or stratas which can be experienced as very different kingdoms within the astral. In some schools of thought and esotericism, these will be called, as different heavenly realms, or as purgatory and things like this. And in the East, they would call them things like Kamaloka or Devachan. These are different realms of experience, and they are vastly different. Like the lower astral world is a radically different place than the upper astral worlds and kingdoms. So we have experiences like the eighth sphere in the astral, where it's literally the eighth sphere of Earth would be the darkest aspects of Earth. It would be Earth, populated with the darkest, most evil people and magnified there. And that includes many of the evil personalities of the past that have left echoes there, or which are still inhabiting that realm in some way. Some of them have taken up residence there and have gone about, becoming parasites into the third dimensional Earth. And that's where they draw their life sustenance from. That's how they stay in the home they've made for themselves in the eighth sphere, instead of moving on. So they would rather rule in hell than move on to heaven. And then, when we move on to the realms of Devachan, you have realms of absolute beauty where humans, there are also many idyllic worlds that are very similar. It's Earth. It is Earth. It's a reflection of Earth, a higher dimensional reflection of Earth. But in these worlds, there's no lack. There's pure abundance. And this is where many of us spend the majority of our time. Like in between lives, you may spend 50 years in third density, and then spend 200-300 years in Devachan or in Kamaloka, working on things there. So the majority of our life is actually on Earth, is spent in the higher dimensions, all of us,